G'day viewers, Retro Man here. Today I'll be talking about a greaser film that is raw, rebellious, gritty and atmospheric. Stay tuned for my retrospective on The Loveless.
Here they come, as tough as they come. The Loveless.
Which way are you coming from?
It don't matter which way I'm coming from. It's which way I'm going to.
Coming to you from a basement studio somewhere down under. It's the 80s show with Australia's Retro Man. On tonight's show, Retro Man does a retrospective on the 1981 greaser flick, The Loveless, starring Willem Dafoe. Well, what are we waiting for? Lights, camera, Retro Man!
G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s show. Now today I will be doing a retrospective on the 1981 greaser film The Loveless, starring Willem Dafoe in his feature film debut. That's right guys, this is the first time Dafoe came on our screens and it really was a striking portrayal of a biker with a fire burning inside him. It's a very interesting performance guys, and what I will say is Willem Dafoe told, shall we say, a little white lie to get this role in this film. And he walked into the audition process, this is what I've heard, and they said to him, can you ride a bike? And Dafoe basically said, of course I can. And basically Willem Dafoe wins the role and he finds himself on the set, and the filmmakers come over to him and present him with this bike and they say, look, we want you to ride down this highway. And he basically looks at them and says, can somebody show me how to do this? And I find that story quite fascinating. I mean, that's how he got his foot into the door, by basically saying he could ride. But I mean, if you saw this film, you would think he's the real McCoy. I mean, you put Willem Dafoe in leathers, you slick his hair up, I mean, he has the white t-shirt on, and he is the personification of a 1950s biker. And really, that's what this film is. It's an outlaw biker film. I mean, some might refer to it as a greaser film. And guys, it's set in the late 1950s, which is the perfect time for this type of picture. It's a throwback to The Wild One. In fact, it was inspired by that 1953 film starring Marlon Brando. And it has all those flavors, this film, the same flavors as The Wild One, but it has even more of a gritty edge to it. I mean, The Wild One has all that polish and those great performances by Brando and Mary Murphy, but this film is very edgy, it's unpredictable, it's violent, it's sensual, there's rockabilly music pumping through this thing, there's plenty of hair combing, and there's a lot of leather on display. So what I will say guys is that there was two directors on board with this thing. I mean, there was a guy called Monty Montgomery. Now, he was later the producer of Wild at Heart. That was a bit of an edgy film with Nicolas Cage. And the other filmmaker on board was Catherine Bigelow. I'm sure you've heard that name before. Catherine is a very talented filmmaker, and she eventually became the first female Oscar winner for a directing gig that she did, The Hurt Locker, in 2008. So she has some pedigree, guys, and this is right at the start of her career. Now, as I said, The Loveless is set in the late 50s. I mean, in terms of plot, there's not a lot going on, but there's a lot of suspense. I mean, basically we have a group of bikers congregating at this diner gas station, and we really don't know what is going to happen next. Vance, Willem Dafoe, kind of the leader of the biker gang, he gets involved with a girl and there's some conflict there with the girl's father, and basically that's it. I mean, there's bikers in a small town and there's going to be some conflict with the locals. And I mean, The Wild One explored those themes of bikers coming into the town, and that did it so well. And this is just another take on that. Yes, it's not quite as good, The Loveless. I mean, The Wild One is up there. I mean, this is one of the greatest outlaw biker films ever with a fantastic Brando performance. But I mean, Willem Dafoe is great in this. He suits this type of role. And this film is a quirky rockabilly film. Suspenseful, edgy, violent, and I tell you what, like I said, unpredictable. And it has a slam bang ending. Now this ending's not for everyone. It's downbeat in its own way, it's depressing, but hey, this is a biker film, this is a greaser film, and it is edgy. What I will also say is they've done greaser films before, and some of them have a more joyful spirit to them, a bit of a zest for life. And one of those films is actually The Lords of Flatbush. That's it right there, starring Sylvester Stallone and Henry Winkler and Paul Mace and Perry King. And that's a really interesting film. It was made in the 70s. I mean, it was one of Stallone's first films, and I think they all give wonderful performances. And that film kind of had more fun to it, this sort of playfulness. And this film, guys, is fearless. This film is dangerous. And really, that's what you want in a biker film. This is kind of the flip side to that. I mean, you never know what is going to happen with these guys in the Loveless, and that's what gives this film the intensity.
I don't want them in here, and I don't want to serve them.
Like the town?
They're animals.
They're a bunch of commies.
We're going nowhere. Fast.
Things are just starting to heat up, Daddy-O, so be sure to return for part 2 of my retrospective on The Loveless.
So that just about does it, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support is greatly appreciated. So until next time, guys, this is Retro Man, living the dream, 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang and just as cool as Willem Dafoe in The Loveless. Please subscribe and good night, viewers.